Those of you who don't know me, I haven't done many things, but one of the things that I have done is that I got from relatively fat to having a six pack all year round. And I wanted to start with, I want to start this video with like some obesity facts to like shock you and stuff. So after a conversation with an AI search engine that ends with GTP and is owned by a certain group of people, if you know what I mean. I didn't really find anything shocking. Actually, I kind of did. Like, I asked it basically, yeah, like, yeah, reveal some shocking but true facts about obesity. And it basically generated that, it came to the conclusion that the fat, like, all that fat that these obese people have, is not just fat, it's fat with toxins. So, like, the toxins of all these shitty foods are stored inside of the fat, and that fat in itself can penetrate the organs that it's not supposed to. I don't think there are any organs that fat is supposed to penetrate, so probably none of them. But yeah, it can do that once you reach a certain obesity level. And the, that was shocking. Another thing that was shocking as well was that the fat, the skin out of the fat can be like a place for bacteria and infections to fall. So like imagine you're so fat that these toxins have created an ecosystem for infections. What the fuck? That's kind of like, yeah, I have no words for that. So, how do we avoid it? How does one avoid being fat? How did I avoid being fat? Not necessarily obese, like I was never obese, like fat. But I was kind of fat, and then I got very lean and very fit, you could say. And that kind of started, as I've probably mentioned in another video, with my doctor who told me like, yeah, you have to. I was like 14, and he was like, yeah, you have to cut down on like grandma sweets and sweets in general, and you have to cut down on food. And in my head, I got angry, and I took it personally because, as I've told once again this story, it's like I was thinking, who the fuck tasked you? Who who told you to speak and to talk to me that way? Like fuck off. And from that point and onwards, I just lost the weight. And on top of that, a couple of months later, I broke up with my first ever girlfriend, and I was spamming like 700 sit-ups a day, which I don't really know if it's healthy or if it should have happened. But yeah, that was another reason for this weight loss, fat loss, actually. So, how do I go about it? How do I go about managing weight and specifically managing body fat? I divide my life into periods. There's periods where I can afford to look a little bit worse, to kind of look like shit. For example, you can take like a week off in summer, and it's probably not just the food that you're going to eat that might be a little bit poisonous. It's also like alcohol stuff that you might drink, and in general, you might take a week of the year to just poison yourself, but that's okay if you can afford it. Like most people can't, but there are people like athletes, for example, who are locked in like for the rest of the year, and these people can afford it, and there's nothing fucking wrong with it. They know that there's nothing wrong with it because they come back from this vacation where they might have poisoned their body with lots of alcohol and lots of processed food, but nothing's really changed. Yeah, they might be a bit more puffier in the face. They might be kind of fatter or something, but they don't really. You don't see any change. Like I don't know how to explain it. It's like they've done so little bad to their body. They've done so little damage to it, that it's almost non-existent. But yeah, my mindset is kind of like this, where I'll divide periods. Periods where I'm locked in with my diet, for example, and I try to avoid processed stuff, really. And periods where I'm like, yeah, fuck it, whatever. I'll eat that extra ice cream. Because I might eat ice cream. Like, ice cream is not that bad. Like, okay, fair enough. Sometimes it is. But sometimes, especially if it's homemade ice cream, it's just milk and some sugar and some egg yolks. Like, it's not that deep, which matters a lot as well. Like, a homemade burger is not the fucking same as a burger in deep fried seed oils. And another thing was that when I was entering a period where I would be like, yeah, for this 1 week, for example, I might poison my body with alcohol and sugar and all of that stuff. I was like, before that period began, I was very arrogant. I was I was fit, yeah, but I wasn't just fit. I had like six pack and veins popping on my abs, which is what I'm gonna do now as well. So I was even cocky about it. I was arrogant, and I was like, yeah, I have veins popping on my abs. I have abs while I'm sitting down. Like, who the fuck, who the fuck is gonna talk shit about me? Who's gonna tell me? No one's gonna tell me nothing. Like, you could think of it something like, yeah, I deserve to poison my body now, even though you don't always get that urge. Like, believe it or not, it's not a phase that will happen certainly once you reach a certain body fat level, or you reach the or whatever, or you see your physique looking good in the mirror. Like, it's not like the first thing that you see, that you think when you see your physique in the mirror and it looks good for once, and you're not disgusted with what you see in the mirror. You're not always going to be like, yeah, let's fucking ruin that. No, sometimes you want to keep it. Like, sometimes you want to make even more progress, or to just keep it this way. Like, keep your six pack for longer. Like, have be a little bit more in that period of being cautious of what's under your mouth and what you eat, and not like ordering food from outside like twice a day. Like, that's the point that I'm trying to make. There will be periods where you have the urge to poison your body, but there might be periods where you don't really have that urge. You don't really want to do that. But you're covered because your physique and your body and the way it looks says that even if you decided to do that, you could afford it and nothing would change. So yeah, that's a very important mindset that I can reflect on right now that I'm kind of fit. I don't know if this works like specifically on people that are obese, like very, very fat and have like, what's it called, like insulin sensitivity. This probably, this might not work because a mindset, like a little change and a certain change of perspective of things might not like respond the same to your hormones. Like, yeah, I give you a different way of looking at things, but if there's a certain hormone, because I don't really know how these hormones work and stuff, but if there is a certain hormone that makes you want to eat like a fucking pig, then a mindset change might not be able to battle that. Like, if you have a hormone that tells you to eat a fuck ton and it's elevated, and someone is talking about mindset tips and stuff, it's probably like this meme of like dying ant versus hypernova or something. Like, it might not do much. Like, you might need help from a doctor at that point. But that's, I think, in my opinion, if you are like obese. If you're like fat to skinny fat, then there is stuff that you can change without needing to visit the doctor. Like, the problem is still manageable at this point, I think. Now, here comes the second part that I want to talk about, which is what do we actually eat? What do I actually eat when I'm being more locked in and focused, as I said, on what's going in my mouth? I eat pretty much the same things that I would eat before, just less of it. For example, I'm not fucking telling you to be miserable and spam salads all day. I've never seen anyone who does that who I want to look like. Like people spamming salads and plain ass chicken. They're fucking miserable. Like why would you eat stuff that makes you fucking want to put a bullet through your head? No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna spam salads. I'm just going to eat less because that's more fucking sustainable. And also, another way I like to see this thing is that, for example, I eat ice cream. I also might eat some chocolate here and there, which chocolate is not that bad if it's like above 60, 70% or whatever. But that doesn't even fucking matter. What matters is that I think it this way. Like, if I don't eat that much extra chocolate today, if I don't eat so much extra ice cream today, I can afford to eat more of it tomorrow or the next day or in a month or in a year or whatever. Like you see where I'm kind of going with it? Like it's it you kind of could say that it's like money. Like if I get 50 euros today and I don't spend it and I get another 50 euros tomorrow, then I can spend it on something that's worth 100 euros. Whoa! Even though I just gained 50 euros that day. If you do that for a month, I don't know what's the maths of it. It's probably like 1,000 euros or something. Yeah, if you don't spend shit for a month, which is not possible, but you get the point that I'm trying to make with the calories. Like, if you don't spend shit for a month, you'll have 1,000 euros that you can spend, which is also fucking amazing. Which is basically 10 times your daily, or no, sorry, like 20 times the daily amount that you can spend. And that's a nice way to think about calories, food as well, in my opinion. Not calories, not so much. Like I'm not counting calories. I'm counting food. I count what enters my mouth. And I think it's kind of unacceptable to not know what enters your mouth in a given day. Maybe even in 2 days, but I'm not that strict yet. So yeah, that's how I like to think about it. For example, if I don't eat ice cream today, as I said, I can afford to eat a lot more in the next month if I don't eat this month, for example. So, yeah, find foods, or you probably already have foods that you generally enjoy. For example, for me, it's yogurt with honey and bananas. It's also potatoes with meat, steak specifically to be exact, that I enjoy a lot. Yeah, I like all of this stuff, like beef, potatoes, egg, toast, whatever. I like that. I feel good. I feel fueled. I feel like I can function when I eat like this. If you had me like spam salads instead of eating like this, I'd probably fucking shut down like in the middle of the day while doing fucking whatever, while doing laundry or whatever. I just fucking sleep on the spot. And then I don't know if I'd ever wake up again if I ate like that for a prolonged period of time. So yeah, I still eat what I like. I just eat less of it. And it's a lot easier to do this if you eat the same foods every day because if you eat the same food every day or every other day, for example, it's much more recent in your memory to remember what was approximately the quantity. Like if there are certain foods that you can't really measure, like if you put pasta on the fucking plate. How do you know how much pasta did you have the last time? So you have to know how much approximately you ate the last time so that you can make the certain adjustments. And if you eat that food very frequently, every day or every other day, it will be much easier to do. Like it will be much easier to say to yourself, yeah, I ate kind of this quantity last time. I ate somewhere like this when it comes to like the food, the plate was full up to that point last time. Now let's reduce it maybe a little bit. Like I'm sure it was somewhere here because I had the same food yesterday. So I'll just decrease it. I don't know if you get my analogy here. So the last thing that I want to emphasize is the frequency of your meals. That's something that you have to experiment with. For example, you might eat your meals later in the day. You might not, even though like fasting is not something I prefer doing because you're basically starving. Like fasting is basically starving. That's how I feel when I fast. Sometimes, yeah, sure, it might be good, but it's not good to do all of the time. I don't feel good doing that all the time. So you'll have to experiment with your frequency and also look for the feeling of avoid the feeling of being full and being disgustingly full. Eat till you're satisfied and full, fair enough, but not eat like to the point where you feel like you're disgustingly full. Don't eat to the point of gluttony. That's where I want to emphasize. So yeah, if I had to sum it up, it would look something like this: to eat what you like, what you prefer, what you know is healthy from what you like, because you probably fucking know what's healthy. Like if it looks natural, if it fucking exists like in nature and stuff, and if preferably it doesn't have like any percentages, like for example the potato is 100% potato, the meat is 100% meat. Like if it doesn't have percentages, if you can find it on the farmers market for example, if it's local, then and if it tastes good, like if you actually like what you eat, then it's probably healthy. Like you know roughly what's healthy and what isn't. So pick foods that you like, experiment. Actually first reduce how much you eat of them, the quantity, and also then experiment with frequency. For example, you might feel better when you don't eat that frequently, but you eat all the meals at once basically, and you want to feel like full enough so that you don't come back to the fridge in like an hour or something. Even though it doesn't really matter, as I said, because if you come back to the fridge and there's the healthy stuff that you like, that we talked about previously, then you're not going to like cheat on your diet that badly. And on top of all of that, on top of reducing how much you eat, not by a lot, by how much you're comfortable with, but as I said, reducing how much you eat and experiment with the frequency of your meals. You can also keep in mind the money analogy, as I said, because as I said, if you don't eat badly, if you don't cheat on your diet today, you will afford to do it in the future and you can afford to do it a lot more, and that will be more enjoyable for you. Firstly, because you'll be able to eat a lot more and cheat on your diet a lot more, like eat a lot more food. And secondly, because you might not need that much food when you're cheating after a while to begin with. The most important, despite that, despite it's not the food, it's not how much food you're going to eat, it's not how much you will be able to cheat on your diet. It's the fact that you're going to do it guilt free. That's the most important with being able to afford to cheat on your diet, is that you're not going to feel guilty. You're not going to feel disgusted at yourself for what you are doing. You're going to enjoy your cheat meal. So yeah, that's it for the video. I hope it helped. See ya.